The British Army has conducted its most futuristic training experiment to date. Exercise Urban Warrior has been planning for combat beyond 2020, using a purpose-built town in France for live and simulated warfare. Tonight, in the second of her special reports, Julie Knox examines why the British need to borrow French facilities and how more sharing between allies might be necessary as budgets are tightened.
From the air, the scope of this purpose-built urban combat ground becomes clear. It's difficult to believe none of this is real. A fake town smack bang in an army base in the barren French back of beyond.
It's a fantastic kind of complex of 5, 6, 7-storey buildings, which are all in a close space and built in different kind of areas from an urban ops perspective, an industrial zone, a modern zone, a kind of old town area. So that allows the guys on the ground to properly train in urban ops, and it allows us to support them in the urban ops environment, to use our sensors and our cameras.
It's also experimental, to some extent hypothetical, imagining what war might be like in the future.
It is as we operate at the moment, but with a view to how we're going to operate. So this is very much a similar setup you would see to Afghanistan, or you will have seen in Battus in years gone past. A lot of the skills and drills that we have as basic soldiers, we are putting into practice in here, but I think, as you say, it's refining them for that urban environment. So certainly the tanks we have out with us, they love driving around Salisbury Plain and Battus very quickly and taking on other bits of armour. Here it's very tight corners, they're struggling to work out how to protect their own vehicle in these narrow streets.
We've been in a counterinsurgency mindset now for over 10 years. Most of my army career has looked at counterinsurgency, and this is major combat operations against a near peer enemy, and it's a big leap.
Enemy capability has moved on, so we now need to assume much more capable handheld anti-armour systems, much more capable anti-structure munitions, which might be held by, not by organised armies, but by guerrilla groups and so on. And we assumed that the civilians, we were fighting to defend a friendly country, and the civilians will have left. They'd have left as refugees, so the ring has been cleared for red and blue to fight each other. That's not an assumption we can make in the future, and it leads to some different approaches.
Doing business with friendly nations to maximise the return for each is an emerging pattern, and already signed up to in the Lancaster House Anglo-French Treaty on Military Cooperation.
What we were told 2 or 3 years ago, when the Lancaster Treaty was signed by our ministers and president, was we need to share everything. It was like share it or lose it.
But is uniting to fight the only viable option for cash-strapped countries a decade from now?
The problem you face on the budget, resource, organisation, strength of the army, we are facing exactly the same one. I really think definitively we will fight together.
Of course, without a crystal ball, the Army's position is you've got to train for any and all contingencies. You need to know you can do it, even if you don't end up needing to do it. And it beats being back in barracks. Julie Knox, Forces News on Exercise Urban Warrior.